Mike?
Thank you, Michael.
If I could add to that conversation, I know that the Watershed Alliance has been, they withdrew that original grant, but now they've been reapproved and will be starting construction
Yes.
on.
Catch basin
Water
type.
flooding,
It's
So I think that,
controlling the water
Yes.
before it goes into the river.
right, so hopefully that, they should be aware of, there'll be a cleanup going on at the same time, and then I'm sure they'll coordinate it in a safe fashion. So in light of that, I would like to make a motion that we recommend the MAC Converse School and the high school roof projects continue as scheduled, and that we request direction from the, this will all be part of the same motion, request direction from the MSBA on how to deal with the circumstances that have come up. Is that the direction you're looking for?
At the middle school.
Yeah. Second.
Any discussion?
I just add to the discussion, if I could, the cleanup costs. Will be between the roofs at the MAC and the high school. Will be using up the entire amounts, or will there'll be some excess funds?
Again, it will be up to the MSBA to determine what's acceptable as part of a project or not. It's part of the reason why, the way we have presented it to the MSBA in terms of the middle school itself is an emergency project in the sense that it's not a project that I would say to them, please put it on the list, because sometimes those lists take 3, 4, 5 years to go into, it's approved for us to start working on it. If they were to take this as an emergency, basically it's bumping you up in the queue of approved projects. If they can do that, then this would become part of that project, the cleanup. And that would be part of the project. The next part of the project would be to order new windows, maybe get rid of the soil, and then possibly next spring or summer, whenever the windows actually come in, begin taking out the windows and that. So this will be a long project. This won't be, no matter how we do it, this won't be done this summer. That's why I wanted to make sure we could do the cleanup, and either it'll go as an emergency project, or if the MSBA decides, no, that's the only project we'll allow you to do, I'm hoping not, then we'll have to forget about the roofs until God knows when, and then just deal with the middle school, in which case the cleanup would be a part of that as well.
Because my motion to do the roofs and to proceed certainly don't suggest that we hold off on the cleanup. I think we've identified that as a step one. You indicated it's going to happen this summer. And
yes.
So great.
Sure.
Tony?
I mean, Dr. Cobb, besides other than the cleanup inside, I mean, there is no health hazard right now on the exterior of that school.
At this point, no.
And how many schools in this country were built in the 1960s that have the exact same cork on every window? And I mean, there isn't a mass hysteria out there to...
Let's just say that the time this comes up is when people go in and try to do a reconstruction or a renovation project.
But if we leave the windows alone, we don't have to do anything. We can encapsulate on the outside.
There's a catch, and the catch is this. If you find it, it's an illegal substance to have, so you have to deal with it. Now, whether the way to deal with it is remediation or what you're thinking is encapsulation, the EPA and the MSBA would have to agree on what that would look like. And we've thought of that. The problem with those kinds of approaches to encapsulate is it creates a big maintenance schedule nightmare that you have to recheck and recheck and recheck because the material's still there. You haven't removed it. So they're going to want to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere, and now it becomes your issue for as long as that exists, if they even let you keep it there. Because they want to make sure.
Stereotyping is going to be a big maintenance issue in the future, too. I mean,
what do you mean?
when they actually cut the face of the concrete and
Yep.
resurface it, that never holds. That ain't gonna hold forever. I think that's gonna be a maintenance issue down the road.
But it'll be a maintenance issue, but the new materials that get put in place will not have hazmat issues with it. So, yeah, you're right, it'll be a maintenance issue, but it's a different kind of a maintenance issue that you don't have to involve the EPA or hazmat or anybody else. It'd just be, that chip came off, put new stuff on it. But it's not the EPA oversight that you would need in this kind of a scenario. So once you find it, you have to deal with it. Obviously you can't do it any faster than you can do it. So if the window's got to go, we can't make that go any faster than it would have anyway. It's just, can we get the MSBA to help us with it now that it's there? A lot of other schools probably have it. They just don't know it, and they're not going to go look for it. And there is no requirement that you go look for it. It's just that if you find it, you have to remediate it. And, from everything that I read, even from the EPA website and some of the other places, what they're saying is you don't have to evacuate the building, nobody's in grave danger over this, you can, you just have to take care of it. The few places where it's become an issue is when you don't look for it ahead of time and you start removing stuff and the dust gets all up everywhere, and that becomes an issue. But we haven't done anything yet to it, so it's a matter of cleanup and then taking the stuff out of the building.
Any other comments, questions?
Okay. Mike's motion is to recommend that the Mackin High School roof continues. Request direction from the MSBA on the circumstances with the PCB cleanup. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Review of the tennis court issue.
See if they're here. Sorry.
I think there are some. I thought
They're
I
here.
saw them sneak in. They're hiding behind all those boxes.
I guess they are.
Yeah.
As long as whoever's talking needs to talk into the microphone so the people at home can hear it. We'll take turns. Yeah, we know we were putting you in front of the microphone. At the last school committee meeting, we presented some information as to monies that we still had in the budget and some of the expenditures we wanted to put against those. One of them that I had suggested was the resurfacing of the tennis courts. This is actually a couple of years in the making. Last year, before we even started going to the capital improvement committee of the town, they had approached me to see if the school could take care of the courts because they really belong to us. And at that point in time, there was no money that I had set aside anywhere in the budget, and we hadn't even gone to the capital improvement committee. However, this year, they came back and said, really needs to be done now. It would be nice. They're going to take some of their limited funding to do something with it this year. And I said, let me see if we can use this year's funding to take care of that. Along with it, I did meet with them and explain that with the other leagues or other organizations that we have in the community that use our facilities for recreation, we have a relationship with them through, they rent the facilities from us, and then they in turn have use of those facilities, whether to run a league or to do workshops or things of that sort. So this would be something where if we're going to say these are our courts, we use them. Obviously our teams were here not too long ago, and we all clapped because they did really well this year. If we're taking care of the courts, however, they want to have some access to the courts, and other people want to. And we certainly don't want to become the tennis police, although there may be some ways to share in that responsibility. We'd like to start sort of the same kind of relationship we have like with the soccer league and the basketball league, but now do it with the foundation. We could sit down and try to come up with something that makes sense based on what we're charging the other leagues. They could turn around and charge people who want to use it during that period of time that they've reserved the courts for. And that way they can replenish some of their monies, because they're still going to be taking care of some of the things that happen at those courts. For example, the lights, because we don't use them, but other people want to. So it'll be more of a joint relationship, just like we do with softball and baseball and everybody else, when they, for example, help clean the blue stone out there or put up the benches for baseball. But the school committee asked to put it on hold because we weren't quite sure if that was going to be something we wanted to do. So I invited them to come in.
Do any of you have anything to add to what he said?
Did
No?
I cover it?
Not yet.
Okay, he did well. Eric?
Through the chair. I don't see how town leagues that have soccer, baseball, it's easier to police them because they're leagues and they have scheduled games. I don't know how it's ever going to be possible to stop. I know a bunch of people that go on a Tuesday, Wednesday night and go play tennis. My whole life growing up, it was always, you go to the tennis courts, and it was never a pay-as-you-go type of, I just don't know how that's ever going to be done
Mike had a good idea.
to pay for the tennis courts. I just don't see how we can treat it like a league, unless they do have like the New Bedford Tennis, so if they want to come in and use our courts, of course, that could be a fee type of thing, but for individual taxpayers to come use the courts, I mean, I've taken my kids to our fields on a Sunday afternoon when there's no leagues playing, and we've used our baseball fields. Should I be paying a fee for that? Absolutely not.
Well,
And I would not want anyone to have to pay a fee to come use our fields one day for just you want to go
A
play
pickup
baseball with your son, you have 2 kids, and you want to go play ball, or you want to go play tennis, absolutely not charge them to use facilities as taxpayers in this town, that they're paying for these facilities already anyway.
Can I make a comment on that? Just a quick response. Mike has a good idea of a possible way to deal with the police. I'm going to give you credit because I'd never thought of that, so kudos.
Make sure he spells my name right.
In the newspaper. However, I have to, there is a certain level of responsibility that the schools do have over anybody in our grounds at any time, day or night, or during the weekend, or any of those things. If, for example, and I've used this in the past, if you have the soccer league saying, hey, we have the fields just about every day from, May, June till November, and somebody like your family decides, I'm coming on a Saturday, I want to play, what happens? They're the ones who are going to say, hey, we paid, you're off.
Yes,
Now-
they charge a fee for their leagues to play.
Now, is there a moral responsibility that people using the buildings should pay for the use of the building? That's open to discussion. But if somebody wanted to have a party and they wanted to invite all their friends, they were going to have 20, 30, 40 people out there in the field, and it's happening on a Sunday afternoon, should they come to the school and sign up for the field and pay for a one-day fee? Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, are we going to go after them and police them? If we know about it, yeah, I would probably go out there and say, hey, listen, it's fine, you can use it, but you need to fill out the use form and you need to pay for the day or whatever. I mean, we don't allow people to come in the building and use our classrooms whenever they feel like it. The field should not be any different. Now, there's the practicality of actually doing it, because we don't have a fence around the district properties like some of the